Now at 9, loved ones remember the life of and say goodbye to 19-year-old Caden Barber. Plus, why some Joplin area commuters will need to find a new route if you see I-44. And a Joplin organization raises a record amount of money for area hospitals.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. If you plan on driving on I-44 east of Joplin anytime soon, expect delays and detours because of bridge damage. It happened this afternoon just before 2 in Fidelity, Missouri. Authorities say an oversized crane going north on Mo 59 to I-49 under the I-44 overpass struck the bottom of the I-44 bridges, ripping off part of the crane. The impact damaged steel girders underneath the bridges. MoDOT closed I-44 westbound as chunks of the bridge fell onto Mo 59 to I-49. Family and friends gathered today in Pittsburgh to remember the life of 19-year-old Caden Barber. Last week, he was found unresponsive in the pool of the Pittsburgh YMCA, where his family says he was training in preparation for going to the Navy. He grew up in Pittsburgh and graduated from Pittsburgh High in 2022. During his time at PSU, Caden was a standout athlete, excelling on both the football field and the wrestling mat.
Because of his toughness and his dedication, his determination and crazy work ethic. And he might have been just a little bit stubborn. But probably the most important thing that made him different was his heart. He was genuine and he was a caring kid.
Today's service was held at Pittsburgh's Memorial Hall. And now meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with the first look of the weather.
All right, thank you very much, Jalen. We've had a few high clouds out there this evening. You can see that on the satellite view starting to spill in from the west, but no precipitation. We have to go all the way out to the west in western Kansas and Oklahoma before we start to run into some storms. And those storms are making their way towards the east and will be arriving by tomorrow morning in our area. Lots of severe weather down in the northeast part of Texas and southern Arkansas. This evening, we're looking at mostly fair skies with temperatures dropping through the 60s to around 61 degrees by tomorrow morning. And then as we look down the lane, we do have those off and on storm chances with a warm Thursday and also a chance of some weekend storms and then summer-like weather all next week. And I'll tell you all about that in just a little while.
All right, we'll see you then. Women with a Mission, a giving society within Mercy Health Foundation, today gathered to celebrate a record-setting donation. It'll be allocated to various hospitals and health departments. KOAM's Anthony Saviello highlights one of the hospitals that got a part of that donation.
Mercy Hospital in Columbus, Kansas is one of many hospitals that received part of a $113,000 donation from Women with a Mission. Angie Saporito gave me a tour of the facility and told me that this donation is one that will help boost the long list of improvements on the hospital's radar.
We are so blessed to have these women come together and understand and recognize the needs in a small hospital. It's not the same as a bigger facility, so my needs are different from Mercy Joplin or Carthage or Galena. And so when I come to them with an ask, it may be something really small, but to me it's really great.
One of the improvements? Hospital beds.
Over time, the wear and tear on those beds, it matters for the care for the patients, for their comfort level, what they're able to do, if they properly work with their nurse call system, those type of things.
Angie shared that the improvements aren't just new toys, but rather tools to make the lives of patients more comfortable.
They have great care, but they also have access to the very best things that they can get in Joplin or Carthage or Galena or Pittsburgh, Parsons, surrounding communities. We have it at your hometown too.
So, for this small town hospital, these big improvements will make all the difference when it comes to saving lives. Reporting in Columbus, I'm Anthony Saviello.
The hospital is also adding a new building for physical therapy and renovating space for an in-house CT scanner. Walmart announced it will be building a more than $250 million facility in Kansas. The facility will be located in Olathe and will be the retail giant's first ever fully owned and operated case-ready beef facility. The 330,000 square foot facility will create 667 new permanent jobs when operational, as well as 1,000 design, fabrication, and construction jobs to build it. Construction is set to begin later this year with a planned opening date in 2025. Missouri Governor Mike Parson today announced emergency water and hay access for farmers. It's in response to worsening drought conditions throughout the state. Boat ramps at 25 Missouri state parks will be open for farmers to collect water, with almost 700 acres available for haying at 17 state parks. Boat ramps at 36 Missouri Department of Conservation areas are also now open for water collection. And MoDOT is offering special over-with hauling permits at no charge to help farmers and ranchers move hay. A large crowd of Trump supporters gathering in New Jersey to hear former President Trump's reaction following his historic day in court, telling his supporters he had every right to have these documents in what he's calling a sham indictment. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has more from Miami.
Former President Trump's attorney said he was defiant heading into his historic day in court here in Miami, something we heard from him later in the evening in New Jersey. Former President Donald Trump is back home Tuesday evening, maintaining his 37-count federal indictment is politically motivated.
Political persecution, like something straight out of a fascist or a communist nation?
During his arraignment in Miami, his lawyer entered his plea with a special spin, saying, quote, "We certainly plead not guilty." He was ordered to not discuss the case with any potential witnesses. The former president silent and stoic in front of the judge. But afterward,
We're a nation in decline, and then they do this stuff. And you see where the people are. We love the people.
not to miss an opportunity to campaign, Trump stopped by a famous Cuban restaurant in Miami to meet supporters who sang to him ahead of his 77th birthday Wednesday.
We got a government that's out of control.
Outside the federal courthouse, hundreds of pro-Trump and dozens of anti-Trump protesters turned out, including this man dressed in prison stripes who was detained after rushing Trump's motorcade.
Enough is enough. Enough with the lies.
I'm here to support him. I had 37 counts, felony counts. It's just horrible, and it's dividing our nation.
Trump aide Walt Nauta did not enter a plea Tuesday. He will be back in court later this month. In Miami, Florida, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
There's no timeline for when a collapsed section of I-95 in Philadelphia will be open to traffic again. Part of the elevated highway crumbled Sunday after a tanker truck caught fire underneath it. The driver of the truck was killed, with demolition work underway before the rebuild begins. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg toured the damage today. He promised federal assistance to rebuild and reopen a major artery that normally carries about 160,000 vehicles a day.
We're going to continue to be here every step of the way for as long as it takes, with both financial backing and any other technical support that's needed.
Local officials are expected to announce a rebuild plan as soon as tomorrow. In the meantime, they've added extra service to commuter rail lines in the area. Coming up, using exercise to manage PTSD.
A Florida nonprofit helping veterans get back on their feet. I'm Charles Watson. I'll have that story coming up.
During this Alzheimer's Awareness Month, the FDA advisory panel voted in favor of a new drug for the disease. The vote paves the way for the medication Leqembi to be considered a full FDA approval. The panel says the drug shows signs of slowing cognitive decline for patients in the early stages of Alzheimer's. The FDA gave accelerated approval back in January, so it's already available to some patients. A final decision on full approval is expected by early July, which would pave the way for some sort of coverage by Medicare. A Florida nonprofit is making its mission to help veterans, trying to make a difference in the lives of those suffering from PTSD and other conditions. Fox News correspondent Charles Watson has that story.
Before Fred Calfun began working out at the Great Team Veteran Center in Boca Raton, the 81-year-old Vietnam veteran rarely left his home. He suffered from Parkinson's, an inner ear disorder, and other neurological issues. His health problems made it difficult for him to get around. He says treatment at the VA didn't work until he found a home here.
I felt a sense of camaraderie here with the other people. They're just doing so much to help vets. It's incredible.
The Great Team has worked with more than 700 veterans since its founding 7 years ago, using a combination of exercise, therapy, and technology to help them improve their physical and mental health. The nonprofit gets its name from the brain's nickname, gray matter. Many of the vets seeking treatment here suffer from head trauma or PTSD.
We actually look at the root cause of what's causing that pain, whether that is physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, and we go in and we repair that.
The center is free for those who apply and are accepted. After participants complete the 90-day program, they can still come exercise and hang out. The goal is to build a sense of community along with a lasting support network.
Everyone associated here really cares, has really helped me, and I'm just grateful for all that they've done.
Calvin has been working out for about 2 months. He says he can now walk up the stairs again and has set a personal goal to jog for 3 miles. Reporting in Atlanta, Charles Watson, Fox News.
About 15% of U.S. children were recently treated for mental health disorders. That's according to new research released by the CDC. The findings suggest conditions like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or anxiety are common among school-aged children. Most treatments happened among adolescents between the ages of 12 and 17 years old. Boys were more likely than girls to have taken prescription medications for their mental health. Sam is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, the Pitt State basketball team is helping local kids shoot for their dreams with a youth camp. We'll hear from the team in sports.
Well, folks, we had a pretty nice day across the 4 states. Lots of sunshine, drier air, and comfortable temperatures. We were a little bit below normal for this time of year. Let's take a look outside right now at Seneca, Missouri, at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Just a beautiful evening out there. Just a few high, thin cirrus clouds in the distance, and also a little bit of alto-cumulus, but all in all, not too bad. As I mentioned, we were a little bit below normal. Look at this, high of 83 today, which was 3 degrees above or below the average of 86. And look at the morning low, 56 this morning. The records are 48 and 102. That's a nasty temperature back in 1953. And unfortunately, we're behind about 3/4 of an inch for the month, and we're about 7 inches behind for the year on rainfall. And we need some more rain, and we do have some in the forecast, so that's pretty good. Temperatures right now are very pleasant, generally in the lower 70s up to the north, even some 60s sneaking in, like in Nevada and Stockton with 69. A little bit warmer down to our south in Oklahoma with Bonita, Grove, and Jay all checking in with 76 degrees. And the dew points is what's making it feel a lot more comfortable out there. Dew points are in the 50s across the area, 53 in Neosho, 61 in Pittsburgh. And if you take a look at the scale, that puts us in the Pleasant area. So that's pretty nice for this time of year, because it can get muggy around here with dew points in the 60s and 70s. Right now, it's all clear on the radar, but notice out to the west, along I-35, we're starting to see some showers develop, and also up to the north and west near Salina. This is all part of the next storm system that is moving towards the east, and it's going to take overnight and in the early morning hours before it gets here, and we do expect showers and thunderstorms with that complex as it moves through. And you can see some severe weather in southwest Oklahoma and also in northeastern Texas. Here's a look at the rain chances over the next 48 hours. You can see they're kind of low, but then as we go through the day, and especially tomorrow evening, we'll start to see those rain chances increase and then start to decrease as we go into Thursday before the next round of storms starts to come in to our forecast. Tonight, you can see the storms developing out towards the west, and by morning, around 6:30, we'll see temperatures in the 60s with those storms moving in from west to east, and then around lunchtime, moving through the metro area with temperatures in the 70s to around 80 degrees, and then in the afternoon, those storms move off towards the east. We could see redevelopment back up towards the north and west with temperatures in the low to mid 80s across the area. And the best chance of storms will also be down in Oklahoma. Then as we go into Thursday morning, lows are going to be in the 60s around the area with light and variable winds. And then Thursday afternoon, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 80s, or 88, a pretty popular number across the region with southeasterly winds. And then the clouds are going to start to increase as we go into Friday morning with lows in the 60s. And then we could see another round of showers and thunderstorms Friday afternoon, especially down to the south and east, with highs in the low 80s. And then look at Saturday as we go into the weekend. Rain chances really begin to increase, especially Saturday evening. That's when we really have a good chance of storms across the area. And then that moves out of the way by Sunday morning for Father's Day with lows in the 60s. And then Father's Day afternoon, we may see some more storms develop up towards the north and west. And rainfall amounts with these storms could be generous, especially up towards the west and southwest of us, with rainfall amounts well over 1 inch by the time we go into Sunday evening. So looks like we have a pretty good chance of showers and storms. That will help out with the drought situation just a little bit. And then if we go into the 7-day forecast, you can see 88 on Thursday, and then on Father's Day, 87 with scattered thunderstorms. And then notice as we go into next week, it gets more summer-like with temperatures in the 90s and lesser chances of storms, Jalen. So summer is definitely right around the corner.
Oh, for sure. One of the things, every time I listen to our different weather sections, I think about just how fast time moves. Like, I remember in the fall, we're getting into that fall weather and it's 45 degrees, and here we are, we're already back into the 90s.
Yeah.
So
time's going by.
I know, it's pretty fun. Thank you, Sam. Coming up, we'll break down the latest inflation report and what it could mean for interest rates. U.S. inflation is leaving those sky-high days behind. Consumer prices in May rose at the slowest annual pace since early 2021, according to fresh data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Mike Valerio has the latest.
What was once a rapid rise in prices from online shopping to the shell shock of buying eggs is now showing more signs of cooling, like a wildfire slowly contained.
It does appear as if those dousing of inflation fires, the efforts by the Federal Reserve, do appear to be working.
Mark Hamrick, senior economic analyst from Bankrate.com, says after more than a year of historic interest rate hikes from the Federal Reserve, those higher rates are helping to slow painful price spikes. New numbers out from the Labor Department today show consumer prices up 4% for the year ending in May. That's way down from more than 9% inflation last June.
Consumers still have a right to be irritated by the current state of prices. We see food still up year over year, and as we know, going to the grocery store, there could be things like beef that feel like that's too expensive. Maybe we're going to go to the chicken instead.
Gas prices are down broadly, but what we pay for electricity is still high. In terms of summer travel, hotel prices are climbing slower, and flying is getting a little cheaper.
Compared to a year ago, airline fares are down, but there's a sense that they are still elevated.
The overall encouraging inflation news may give the Fed cover to skip raising interest rates again at its next meeting tomorrow.
Like a patient that needs to recuperate, I think Federal Reserve officials want to sort of stand back, make some observations about how the economy is handling all of that, which has been in some ways shocking.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
Small business owners are feeling better about the economy. The National Federation of Independent Business says its index improved, though it is still well below the long-term average. Inflation was the top concern of some small business owners that were surveyed. Those responding are still reporting job openings were hard to fill, though the reading was better than the previous month. Up next, if you love cheese and other dairy products, we'll tell you about the perfect job for you. If you, friends, or family are lovers of all things dairy, this might be the perfect gig for all of you. The University of Wisconsin-Madison's Center for Dairy Research needs a dairy taste tester, particularly for cheese, pizza, and other dairy products. The perfect taste tester is good with words and can describe the taste of dairy foods, the appearance, texture, and aromas. The tester will try up to 24 cheese samples and 12 pizzas a week. The job is temporary and pays $15 an hour. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. And many area businesses rely on college students for much of their business. We'll see how they stay afloat over the summer. Plus, after a rare tick-borne illness was found in southeast Kansas last week, we'll have some tips on how you can stay safe from ticks. Summer comes, students go, and local businesses feel the impact. Only 20% of the Pitt State student body are locals, meaning businesses face some challenges. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has details.
Perla Garcia owns a local business by Pittsburgh State. She says she would have felt the impact of students not being in town if it wasn't for one thing.
Since we're in front of the college, the students are our main customers here, but also since we're an ice cream shop, well, it doesn't really affect us as much because people start coming in for ice cream, so I'd say we're busy as well.
But summer doesn't work in every business favor. The Kelsey Business and Economic Research Center estimates a decline of more than $22.8 million in student spending during the summer months in Pittsburgh, knowing that local business owners adopt different strategies to minimize the economic impact, from selling seasonal items such as ice cream to reducing business hours.
We were open at 7 in the morning. Before we were not open that early. I get here at noon, and I've had to create a couple new things that we could sell so that it would bring people in as well.
The impact of not having students in town also comes in another way.
We do have a lot of students working here, so when students leave, then we have to hire more people because we do rely on students being our workers or employees.
But not only local businesses feel the negative consequences of having students gone.
Because of the decline in their spending through all the levels of economy where taxes will be collected, there are going to be 760,000 approximately less tax collection during the summertime.
Business owners also say they prepare for the summer slump by saving money during the rest of the year. Reporting from Pittsburgh, I'm Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Besides spending money on tuition and school materials, students also spend their money on housing, groceries, restaurants, transportation, and special stores. KOAM today partnered with Service Solutions Inc. in Miami to say thank you to all of our first responders. Together we held our second annual First Responders Appreciation Day in Miami. The first responders were treated to a lunch as a way to show how much we value all of those that serve our community every day.
Service Solutions, we're a hometown company in Miami, and we really like to give back to our community. There's no better way than the first responders and the people that when you have a problem, you call them and they're the ones that come and fix it, and you don't ever think about them until you need them. They're the insurance policy that we have that we don't have to pay for.
The lunch was held at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Miami. The Carl Junction, Missouri Chamber of Commerce is kicking off the summer with their second Tuesday in the park. Tonight's theme is Sports Night. It's a chance for folks to come out and enjoy fun, games, music, vendors, and of course, food trucks.
This is what it's all about. When you do community events like this all over the community, we have a lot of them, and people do it because it's family friendly, it's fun, and it gives them a chance to come to communities that they've never been to before. It's great weather, so we couldn't ask for anything better.
The event happened at Carl Junction's Memorial Park. Residents in the 4 states may be noticing ticks around them while in nature. KOAM John DeHoudala spoke with the Crawford County, Kansas Health Department and a resident about being safe around ticks during their active months.
It is a time of the year again when ticks are being active, and the Crawford County Health Department wants to remind residents how to stay safe while being out here in the nature.
Long pants, tuck your pant legs into your socks. It doesn't have any breaks in the skin. You want to wear long sleeves. And as soon as you get in from outdoors activity, you want to do a tick check, primary ears, scalp, under hair, belly button, under the arms, behind the knee.
A Crawford County resident in late May was diagnosed with a rare tick-borne illness called heartland virus disease. Hope Harmon with Crawford County Health Department says these type of diseases are rare, but the most common tick in Kansas, Lone Star tick, is the one transmitting the virus.
And a lot of the tick-borne illnesses have some of the similar signs and symptoms: fatigue, fever, feeling of tiredness, sometimes headaches, sometimes a rash.
She says if a person is bitten by a tick, it is recommended to be tested for illnesses.
Different illnesses have different incubation periods, or when someone feels signs or symptoms, but upon signs and symptoms, you should notify your healthcare provider.
Mark Peterson walks on the wilderness trails in Pittsburgh often. He has had tick bites before, but luckily no illnesses. He says best way to avoid ticks when being in the nature is to follow roads.
The main thing I try to do is just to stay on the trails. I think most of the ticks are in the underbrush, and the trail is, pretty clear.
Nurse Harmon reminds to check on animals that may also carry ticks on them. Humans can apply DEET or oil of lemon eucalyptus on skin. In Pittsburgh, Janna Haudala, KOAM News.
Nurse Harmon reminds to also check clothes after being outdoors and possibly washing them once getting inside. And a bit later, getting ahead of potentially dangerous technology.
Congress grappling with AI's potential threats to human rights. I'm Aisha Hasni in Washington with that story coming up.
Well, it was a pretty nice day across the 4 states for mid-June. It can be certainly very hot this time of year, so it was nice to have a below normal day. Right now, let's take a look outside this morning at Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. We had some clouds this morning and then they cleared off for the afternoon, and then the sun came out and got a little bit warm out there, and we had some cumulus clouds developing this afternoon. But as the sun goes down, we're starting to see the clouds increasing from west to east as we're starting to see some storms developing out towards our west. This afternoon, we made it up to 83, but that was below the normal of 86 and certainly not anywhere near that record of 102. And check out the morning low, 56 degrees this morning, only 8 degrees away from the record set back in 1985. And of course, we're still behind for the month on the rainfall as well as the year, but we do have some showers and storms in our forecast, so that's pretty good news. Temperatures right now are very comfortable, generally in the low 70s and upper 60s, 69 in Pittsburgh, Nevada, and Lamar, 76 in Grove, and 77 for our friends down in Jay. And when you look at the dew points, they're very comfortable, generally in the mid-50s across the northeastern sections of our area. Gets a little bit more humid the further south and west you go, with Veneta right now checking in with a dew point of 66. But overall, it's not too bad out there with our dew points making it feel a lot more comfortable. Radar right now, we are starting to see some showers developing along I-35 south of Wichita. These are starting to move towards the east into Elk and Chautauqua counties as we go through the evening hours, so don't be surprised to see a few rumbles of thunder with that activity. We also have some severe weather in southwestern Oklahoma and northeastern Texas that's staying away from us, but this little piece of energy in western Kansas, that is going to be moving towards us. And as it does so, we're going to see the rain chances increasing in our area. In fact, here's a closer in view. You can see those storms firing up now around Winfield, getting ready to move towards Howard and Sedan over the next few hours. Rain chances, they're going to be pretty much low, but then increasing as we go through the nighttime and morning hours, and then start to slacken off a little bit in the afternoon as the rain chances go down into northeastern Oklahoma behind that system. Here's the forecast. Tonight you can see the rain developing out towards the west with lows in the 60s by morning. And then as that goes through the day, that sweeps across our area, and by lunchtime we'll still see those scattered showers and storms, but they'll be mainly moving off towards the east in the afternoon. And then the rain chances start to increase further down in to the south of us in northeastern Oklahoma. Lows tonight are going to be comfortable, and also on Thursday morning with lows in the 60s, and then Thursday afternoon, partly cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 80s, 88, a pretty popular number with southeast winds. Then as we go through Thursday night into Friday morning, increasing clouds and a little bit more humid out there ahead of the next storm system, which will start to impact our area as we go into Saturday, especially Saturday evening. That's when the rain chances are really going to start to pick up once again across our area. Then for Father's Day, that starts to move off towards the east, and we're left with some scattered showers on Father's Day evening up towards the north. Rain chances, as I said, are going to be off and on as we go through time, but as we go through the week into the weekend, we're going to see rainfall amounts getting over 1 inch in some locations. So that's going to help put a little bit of dent in the drought situation. Over the next 7 days, here's the rain chances. Tomorrow, 40%. Thursday, not so much. And then they come back on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, especially Sunday morning. And then it dries out and gets hotter, Jalen, as we go towards the first day of summer with a high of 90. And then, of course, it gets hotter after that. So summer is definitely here.
Oh, yeah. And luckily, pretty much all of our local sports are done, so they don't have to deal with that heat.
There you go. Absolutely. That's why we did it that way on purpose.
All right. Thank you, Sam. And speaking of sports, the Joplin Outlaws look to break their losing streak. Plus, Pitt State holds a youth basketball camp for 2nd through 8th graders. John Dales has those stories and a lot more after the break.
Hey, welcome into sports. I'm John Dales. Pitt State men's basketball wraps up session 1 of its youth camp today. 2nd through 8th grade campers get the opportunity to learn the fundamentals from the Gorillas, coaches, and players. There's an opportunity to still sign up for session 2 of the camp, which runs from July 17th to 18th. PSU men's basketball head coach Jeff Boschee says forming the relationship between the players and kids from the community they'll see later on is paramount.
You know, teaching the skills, basic skills of basketball, and and mostly just having fun. I think biggest thing sometimes you go to camp is you got your station work and you got the competition and stuff like that. But majority of the time, most kids just want to play 5-on-5. But just watching our guys in it, be around them and get to know the kids. And you'll see a lot of these kids throughout the year at our basketball games, and so just getting to know them and seeing them around is always good.
In local baseball, the Outlaws are in action right now and in business right now. After losing 4 games in a row, Joplin currently holds a 4-run lead over Sedalia on the road. Colton Reynolds, a Crowder College product, leads the way offensively. He's got a home run and 3 runs batted in. To professional baseball, the Cardinals trying to do much of the same. That's snapped a losing streak. That's brought them down to the cellar of the National League. Entering tonight's contest with the Giants, the Redbirds hold the NL's worst winning percentage. And things haven't gone quite as well for the Cardinals, though, with just a couple innings remaining. Giants look to be well in control, up 9-3. Michael Conforto has killed St. Louis tonight, San Francisco right fielder. 3 for 3 with 3 runs batted in. Cardinals starting pitcher Jack Flaherty was pulled after giving up 6 runs through just 4 1/3. Elsewhere, the Royals also hoping to stop a losing skid entering tonight. They had lost 7 in a row. Tight one right now at Kauffman Stadium. Final inning, Cincinnati clinging to a 1-run lead. Reds scored all 5 of their runs in the second inning. Neither team has scored since the third. Wrapping things up in basketball, the Denver Nuggets are NBA champions for the first time in history, and a big part of their Game 5 win last night was Christian Brown, who won 3 state championships at Blue Valley Northwest High School, then an NCAA championship at KU, before an NBA title last night.
No, I'm proud of them. I think they deserve it more than I did. So just to win it for the older guys, for DJ, for Ish, for Jeff. Obviously, you can see their emotion, and to win it for the city, to win it for them, it means a lot to me, and that's what I'm most proud of. They mean a lot to me. Our whole team obviously wouldn't be the same without them. So.
Stuff in the locker room there. I promise you, Jalen, not a personal shot at you throwing the Nuggets pin in there.
Oh yeah, not at all. I mean, yes, I'm a Miami Heat fan, but the Nuggets, they played the game the right way with such integrity and competitive nature and things of that nature. And just seeing the guy that went to KU win an NBA championship, it's also good for us because we have something to talk about.
Exactly, pretty special story.
Oh yeah, and then seeing Pitt State men's continue to impact the youth in the area.
Yeah, really cool stopping by there earlier this afternoon. I mean, you can tell that both the players, coaches, and the campers, everybody really looks forward to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, John. We're back with more news after this. As AI gets smarter, Congress is trying to keep up with the risk it may pose to Americans. Fox News congressional correspondent Aisha Hasni has the story.
Artificial intelligence has a voice, and it could sound like someone you love.
Mom, these bad men have me. Help me, help me, help me. She begged and pleaded as the phone was taken from her. A threatening and vulgar man took the call over. Listen here, I have your daughter.
Arizona mom Jennifer DiStefano sharing her story about how scammers used artificial intelligence to manipulate her daughter's voice. At a Senate Judiciary hearing on Tuesday, lawmakers talked about the potential harm AI can have on humans, following an FBI warning about an uptick in sextortion cases, where criminals use the technology to create sexually explicit images that are then used to intimidate victims.
AI is a topic none of us can afford to ignore. It should be treated with the same urgency as national security, job creation, civil liberties.
Industry experts have been urging Congress to act quickly. On Tuesday, senators receiving the first of 3 briefings about how AI is used and its potential dangers. Members say it's a step in the right direction, but they won't be able to come up with a game plan overnight.
Congress is not built for speed. We do things in a deliberative fashion for a reason. So that we don't do anything rash unless we're in an emergency situation.
There has been a flurry of bipartisan bills in recent days. One of them would create a brand new agency to track AI advancements in rival countries like China, but still unclear what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer actually plans to bring to the floor this year. In Washington, I'm Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
Coming up, we'll meet a who's looking forward to Father's Day, thanks to a life-saving double lung transplant. A man in Arizona undergoes a double lung transplant to save his life. And now, on the mend, he's looking forward to spending Father's Day with his kids and his own dad. Fox's Stephanie Bennett has more.
Around 1,000 people are diagnosed with cystic fibrosis every year. It's a chronic genetic condition that affects different parts of the body and can lead to respiratory failure. 40-year-old Aaron Carroll of Surprise knows it all too well.
So growing up was really difficult. I spent most of my life in the hospital.
He was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when he was just 6 months old, living a life in and out of hospital rooms until 6 years ago when he received a very complex double lung transplant at Dignity Health St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center in Phoenix.
I got a transplant because I was not done spending time with my family.
And his disease had already progressed to the point that besides lung transplantation, there were not too many options left for him. He has done remarkably well. His surgery, he recovered well from surgery.
The procedure saved his life and gave him back time to spend with his wife and 2 kids.
I was a complete prisoner to my home, to my body. I was just talking, about the first time I was off oxygen and disconnected from machines. Was such a huge moment in my life. Because before then, my whole life was being corded and chained to something.
This year, he's celebrating his 15th wedding anniversary and looking forward to many more milestones to come, including a special Father's Day this weekend.
I feel like fatherhood and Father's Day to me, it's not really about me. It's about my kids. I want to go over and spend time with my dad, spend time with my kids, and let them know that I love them.
I always tell him he's the strongest person I know. He does not complain. He does what he has to do, and I'm so proud of him.
Live long and prosper, my friend. And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of a sloth and her baby at the Cincinnati Zoo. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.